Uh, this is going to be a rambling, a rant, but I want to talk about this particular subject. But first things first, I do this for me, for venting purposes, and if you don't like it, please, please, please get the fuck off my channel. I'm not looking for any praise, no accolades. Now, back to the subject at hand. I want to talk about this particular subject that I just watched recently. It was a video that I watched recently. I'm sorry. There was a video that I watched, a YouTube video that I watched recently by this YouTuber by the name of Dietrich Davis. You know, he has his congregation called New Wrestling World Order. You know, I give him praise, I give him props on his channel and all that stuff. You know, much respect to him. But there was a recent video that I watched of him, and there was a part in the video where he says that there's a part of the video where he says that only a slave dreams to be king, and heavy is the head that holds the crown. And for the most part, he is totally right. He is absolutely correct because you have people, so-called slaves, so-called peasants, who dreams of having riches, who dreams of having wealth because of the conditions that they're in. But once they, you know, travel to that stage, they begin to realize that nothing is as seems what it appears. You get what I'm saying? They start to realize that what they dreamed of may not actually be cracked up to be. What's that old saying? The grass ain't greener on the other side. In some cases, when you travel to that path, you may think that things will be easier, but it's actually much more harder than what it seems. You know, like in the video, he was talking about, the WWE, Vince McMahon and Stephanie and Triple H and China and all that stuff. You know, it's very messed up how they did China. May she rest in peace. But he was talking about the ordeal of how, Stephanie used Triple H for her own benefit. You know, basically, she used her feminine wilds, her inspiration, to attract the weakest link, and the weakest link was Triple H, because Triple H was indeed, he was that slave at that time, and he wanted to rule. He wanted to take over the company, but come to find out, Stephanie, in the long run, was playing Triple H the whole time. She was basically using him for her own damn benefit, and that's why Dietrich Davis said, what he said about a slave dreams to be a king. And Triple H was a slave, and he did dream to be a king. And also, heavy is the head that wears the crown. It pays the cost to be the boss. I'll say it again, it pays the cost to be the boss. You know what I'm saying? Because when it comes to be a king, when it comes to be a ruler, it's hard to be a good man when you are a king. And also, it takes a lot of responsibility that most people cannot truly understand, cannot fathom it. You know what I'm saying? They can't handle the responsibility. Most people cannot handle the responsibilities of being a king or a ruler because it's too much. It's overbearing. It'll destroy you. You cannot fathom the depths of the responsibility of being a ruler like that. And like I said before, what Dietrich Davis said, he was right on the money. He told the truth, about the whole situation within WWE. But my 2 cents is, I agree with him as well, because a lot of guys think that, by moving up in society, not just guys, but people in general, they believe that by moving up in the company, they think that they're going to take over everything, but that's not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? Because even though you're moving up in the ranks, does not mean that you're going to have total control. And also, the person who chose you to let you move up in the ranks could be using you for their own benefit. You know what I'm saying? There's always pros and cons to this shit, man. The pros is you're moving up. The con is that you're being used. You're being played. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's so funny. If I'm not mistaken, when it comes to Stephanie McMahon, if I'm not mistaken, when you listen to her theme song, she's basically saying in the theme song, it's basically saying that she's the queen. And you know how it is when it comes to playing chess. They said that the queen is the most important part of the chessboard. I repeat, the queen is the most important part of the chessboard, and Stephanie represents that queen. And she using her pawn, her very special pawn, which is Triple H, to get things moving, to get things shaking. If you get what I'm coming from. And but overall, though, man, that's all I got to say about that, man. That's all I got to say. But like I said, much respect and much props to Dietrich Davis and his congregation, the New Wrestling World Order, and like I said, man, that's about it. That's it. So yeah, man. So thank you so much, and have a good day.